The French Quarter is New Orleans' oldest neighborhood and arguably its most iconic. Founded in 1718 along the banks of the Mississippi River, this compact, walkable district overflows with history, culture, romance, and more than just a little bit of mystery. It's a place where past and present blur, where every street has a story and every courtyard conceals a secret. Whether it's your first visit or your 50th, the charm of the Vieux Carré never fades. It only deepens. So here are 25 must-do activities that capture the essence of the French Quarter and offer a full-bodied taste of its spirit, rhythm, and allure. Number 1. Stroll through Jackson Square. Step into the heart of the French Quarter and let Jackson Square work its magic. This isn't just a park, it's a living postcard from old New Orleans, wrapped in history and dripping with Southern charm. Right in the middle of it all, you'll spot Andrew Jackson striking a dramatic pose on horseback, looking like he's ready to ride into battle. He's surrounded by lush greenery, vibrant flowers, and those classic iron fences that seem to whisper stories from centuries past. Look north, and you can't miss the St. Louis Cathedral, towering, elegant, and still holding mass like it's 1794. It's the oldest Catholic cathedral still in use in the country, and it's got the grandeur to prove it. Flanking the square are the Pontalba buildings, those long, red brick beauties with cast iron balconies that house cozy cafes, quirky galleries, boutique shops. And yes, people do still live there. But the real soul of Jackson Square comes alive at ground level. Every day, the place transforms into an open-air stage with jazz musicians and brass bands. Painters, tap dancers, and tarot card readers, all competing for your attention. It's chaotic in the best way, part sidewalk circus, part spiritual experience. Grab a cold drink, find a shady bench, sit down, relax, and let the day unfold around you. Or wander the perimeter and chat with local artists hawking their latest creations. Whether you're a history buff, a people watcher, or just here for the vibes, Jackson Square doesn't disappoint. It's New Orleans in a nutshell. Bold, beautiful, and just a little bit wild. Number 2. Eat a beignet at Café du Monde. No visit to the French Quarter is complete without a stop at the legendary Café du Monde, a beloved New Orleans institution since 1862. Nestled just off Jackson Square, this open-air cafe is famous for its beignets. Golden, deep-fried squares of dough, generously smothered in a mountain of powdered sugar. Every bite is crispy on the outside, warm and airy on the inside, delivering the perfect balance of indulgence and comfort. Pair your beignet with a steaming cup of café au lait, made with robust chicory coffee that cuts through the sweetness and offers a bold, slightly smoky taste. The combination is classic New Orleans, rich, soulful, and impossible to replicate anywhere else. Whether you're seated at the green and white striped table under the buzzing canopy or taking your treats to go for a stroll along the river, the experience is a sensory delight. Expect a bit of a wait during peak times, but it's part of the charm. Watch the powdered sugar fly, listen to the street performers nearby, and enjoy the people watching paradise that unfolds all around you. Number 3. Tour St. Louis Cathedral. Overlooking Jackson Square like a sentinel of time, the St. Louis Cathedral has stood at the heart of the city since 1794, its triple steeple soaring above the quarter's rooftops. Step inside one of New Orleans' most iconic landmarks and experience the grandeur of one of the oldest continually active Roman Catholic cathedrals in the United States. Inside the cathedral's hand-carved statues, intricate stained glass windows, and century-old paintings offer a glimpse into the spiritual and artistic legacy of the city. Whether you're attending Mass, admiring the architecture, or just simply soaking in the quiet reverence of the space, a visit here connects you to generations of worshipers, travelers, and dreamers who have passed through its historic doors. Number 4. Visit the Cabildo. Immerse yourself in the history of Louisiana at the Cabildo, a striking Spanish colonial building located right next to St. Louis Cathedral in Jackson Square. Once the seat of the Spanish colonial government, the Cabildo is now famous as the site where the Louisiana Purchase was finalized in 1803, effectively doubling the size of the United States. Today it houses a fascinating museum operated by the Louisiana State Museum, with 3 floors of exhibitions covering the history of Louisiana by featuring artifacts such as documents, paintings, and historical objects from the museum's vast collection. With its arched galleries, antique artifacts, and sweeping views of Jackson Square from the upper floor, the Cabildo is a must-visit for anyone curious about the powerful stories that shaped New Orleans and the nation. Number 6. Visit the Old Ursuline Convent. Step into one of New Orleans' oldest and most historically significant buildings with a visit to the Old Ursuline Convent. Built in 1752, this beautifully preserved French colonial structure is the oldest surviving building in the Mississippi Valley. Originally home to the Ursuline nuns who arrived to educate young women and care for the sick, the convent has seen centuries of change and resilience. Inside, explore serene courtyards, vintage religious artifacts, and exhibits detailing the early days of Catholicism in Louisiana. The grand staircase and thick brick walls whisper stories of New Orleans' colonial past, making this quiet gem a must-see for history buffs, architecture lovers, and anyone looking to connect with the city's deep spiritual roots. Brought to life by incredibly talented artists and performers who line its historic streets. As you wander through Jackson Square, Rural Street, or Decatur Street, you'll hear the city come alive with the sounds of trumpets, saxophones, washboards, fiddles, and soulful vocals, often just feet away from where you stand. These aren't hobbyists. Many are world-class musicians, busking not just for income, but for the sheer joy of performing and connecting with people from around the globe. From full brass bands grooving under the Spanish moss to solo violinists pouring their hearts into our haunting melody, the performances are spontaneous, intimate, and often spellbinding. You'll also see dancers, mimes, puppeteers, magicians, and even living statues, each contributing to the electric atmosphere that makes the French Quarter feel like an open-air theater. When you see something that moves you, tip generously. Repeat, tip generously. It's not just polite, it is essential. Your support keeps this deeply rooted tradition alive and thriving. Respect their space, engage only if invited, and show appreciation for the immense talent on display. These artists are an integral part of New Orleans culture, and their passion adds real soul to the streets of the French Quarter. Number 7. Grab a Muffuletta at Central Grocery. Step into history and bite into a legend at Central Grocery on Lower Decatur Street, the birthplace of the iconic Muffuletta Sandwich. Invented here in the early 1900s by Sicilian immigrants, this hearty creation features layers of Italian cold cuts, provolone and mozzarella cheese, all piled onto a round sesame loaf and generously topped with a tangy olive salad. The sandwich is pressed to perfection, letting all the flavors meld into one glorious bite. Whether you're grabbing a whole to share or a half for yourself, this savory masterpiece is a must-eat NOLA tradition. Number 8. Take a cruise on the Steamboat Natchez. Step back in time aboard the Steamboat Natchez, the last authentic steamboat still operating on the mighty Mississippi River. As the paddle wheels turn and the steam engine hums, relax on the open-air deck and soak in the panoramic views of New Orleans' iconic skyline, historic riverfront warehouses, and bustling port. Live jazz music drifts through the air as the boat glides gently across the water, offering a serene yet spirited way to experience the city's rich maritime heritage. Choose a daytime cruise for sweeping views, or opt for an evening jazz dinner cruise with Creole cuisine and sunset backdrops for a magical, unforgettable ride. Number 9. Explore the darker side of the French Quarter with Pirates of the Quarter Tour. Step into the shadows of the French Quarter with Pirates of the Quarter Tour, a one-of-a-kind walking tour that plunges you into the eerie, legendary world of New Orleans' most notorious outlaws. This isn't your average history tour. It's a deep dive into the swashbuckling saga of pirates, privateers, and scoundrels who once ruled the Crescent City streets and back alleys. Led by theatrical razor-sharp guides who double as expert storytellers and seasoned historians, you'll wander cobblestone paths and lantern-lit courtyards as tales unfold of Jean Lafitte, the infamous pirate who blurred the line between hero and criminal. You'll hear about real-life smuggling rings, hidden treasure, and the darker, wilder side of New Orleans' past, where truth and legend mix like rum and gunpowder. This immersive experience blends high seas adventure with the haunted undercurrent of a city known for its ghosts and mysteries. You'll feel the weight of centuries in the air as stories echo off old brick walls and flickering gas lamps light your way. Whether you're a history buff, a thrill seeker, or just in it for a good tale, Pirates of the Quarter Tour delivers a memorable journey through the myth and mayhem of New Orleans. No eye patch required. Number 10. Eat a raw oyster at Acme Oyster House. A visit to Acme Oyster House on Iberville Street is a rite of passage for anyone serious about experiencing the soul of New Orleans. Take a seat at a table surrounded by locals and tourists alike and order a dozen on the half shell. They'll arrive glistening and cold, smelling faintly of salt water and possibility. Tip one back with a flick of the wrist. No fart, no fear, and let it slide. Cool and clean, like a whisper from the Gulf itself. And just like that, you're part of something as old as jazz and just as alive. Number 11. Ride the ferry over to Old Algiers Point. Take a break from the bustling French Quarter and hop aboard the Canal Street Ferry for a short but scenic ride across the Mississippi River to Algiers Point, one of New Orleans' best kept secrets. As the ferry glides across the water, enjoy stunning views of the city and river traffic before docking in a neighborhood that feels like a step back in time. Algiers Point boasts quiet, tree-lined streets, charming 19th century cottages, and a relaxed vibe that contrasts beautifully with the energy of the French Quarter. Stroll the levee, browse local art galleries, or grab a drink at a cozy neighborhood pub. It's a peaceful, picturesque escape that offers a different perspective on the Crescent City, literally and figuratively. Number 12. Get a praline at Leah's Pralines. Leah's Pralines has been serving up homemade Creole confections in the French Quarter for over 75 years. Founded by Leah Johnson in 1944, this family-owned, woman-led shop still makes their famous pralines the traditional way, rich with butter, cream, sugar, and Louisiana pecans. Today, the air inside still smells like toasted nuts and warm sugar. Alongside classic pralines, you'll find bourbon chocolates, voodoo pecans, and other southern treats, all made with love and a little New Orleans magic. Stop in, grab a bite, and savor a true local tradition. Number 13. Visit the Audubon Aquarium and Insectarium. Dive into the wonders of the natural world with a visit to the Audubon Aquarium and Insectarium, located along the scenic Mississippi River. At the aquarium, walk beneath a tunnel of gliding sharks, get face to face with colorful reef fish, glare at a gator, and hang out with some adorable penguins. Then journey into the fascinating world of bugs at the Insectarium, where you can explore interactive exhibits, watch leafcutter ants at work, and even sample edible insect delicacies if you're feeling brave. Together, these attractions offer a fun, family-friendly experience that's as educational as it is unforgettable.
Number 14. Have a drink at the Napoleon House. Sip history in a glass at the Napoleon House, a legendary French Quarter tavern where time seems to stand still. Originally built in the late 18th century as a home of former New Orleans Mayor Nicolas Girard, who once offered it as a refuge for Napoleon Bonaparte. This storied building is now a beloved bar and restaurant steeped in old world charm. Weathered walls, classical music, and a distinctly European atmosphere set the stage for enjoying one of the house specialties, the refreshing Pim's Cup. Whether you're seated in the courtyard or tucked away inside, surrounded by vintage portraits and candlelight, the Napoleon House is the perfect place to soak up New Orleans ambiance with a cocktail in hand. Number 15. Tour St. Louis Cemetery. Step into a hauntingly beautiful chapter of New Orleans history with a tour of St. Louis Cemetery, the city's most famous and oldest burial ground. Just outside the French Quarter lies St. Louis Cemetery No. 1, established in 1789 and known for its maze of above-ground tombs, weathered statues, and ornate crypts. Wander among the resting places of legendary figures like voodoo priestess Marie Laveau, and learn about the city's unique burial traditions, shaped by the French, Spanish, and Creole roots. Guided tours add rich stories, local folklore, and architectural insight that brings this city of the dead to life. It's an eerie, unforgettable glimpse into New Orleans' soulful past. Number 16. Have a bowl of gumbo at Cafe Pontalba. Have a steaming bowl of gumbo at the Cafe Pontalba, tucked beneath the iron-laced balconies overlooking Jackson Square. As you sit steps from the statue of Andrew Jackson and the towering spires of St. Louis Cathedral, let the rich, dark roux transport you deep into Louisiana's culinary soul. The gumbo arrives fragrant and simmering, thick with shrimp, chicken, and andouille sausage, each bite a history lesson in a spoon. Choctaw, African, Creole, Cajun, and French traditions stirred together over the centuries. Kick back with something cold and local as you watch the street performers playing their hearts out just outside the open French doors. And let the warm spice of the gumbo linger on your tongue like the music of the brass band drifting across Jackson Square. Number 17. Explore the French Market. Wander through the lively and colorful French Market, one of the oldest public markets in the United States and a staple of New Orleans life since 1791. Stretching for 6 vibrant blocks along the edge of the French Quarter, this historic open-air marketplace is a dynamic blend of local culture, global flavor, and everyday hustle. Whether you're hunting for a one-of-a-kind souvenir or simply soaking up the atmosphere, it's a feast for the senses. Stalls brim with everything from homemade jewelry, folk art, and vintage records to voodoo curios, spices, and French Quarter memorabilia. You'll find vendors selling fresh produce, pralines, crawfish étouffée, and hot sauces that range from mild to diabolical. The aroma shifts as you walk, citrus and herbs, grilled meats, sugary treats, inviting you to snack as you browse. Locals and tourists alike mingle here, creating a melting pot vibe that reflects the soul of the city itself. It's more than just a place to shop. It's a place to experience authentic New Orleans culture in motion, with history around every corner and stories in every booth. Number 18. Take a walk down Bourbon Street. Walk along the beating heart of the French Quarter, where neon signs flicker against wrought-iron balconies, and the air hums with brass bands and laughter. Bourbon Street is more than just a party. It's a living, breathing slice of New Orleans history and culture. Sip a daiquiri in a bar, pulsing with bounce, zydeco, or jazz. Stumble upon impromptu parades led by costume revelers. Watch jugglers do the amazing.
Ready to be loud.
Step into legendary venues like the old Absinthe House or Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop. From early afternoon strolls to raucous midnight crowds, Bourbon Street offers a kaleidoscope of sights, sounds, and flavors that embodies the city's uninhibited spirit. Number 19. Listen to a live jazz band at Preservation Hall. Step through the weathered wooden doors just off Bourbon Street and into a place where time stands still and music takes center stage. Preservation Hall isn't flashy. There's no bar, no air condition, no frills, just wooden benches, a creaky floor, and the soul-stirring sound of traditional New Orleans jazz played just feet away from your seat. Founded in 1961 to preserve the city's rich musical heritage, this humble venue has become a sacred spot for jazz lovers from around the world. Night after night, master musicians channel the spirit of Louis Armstrong, Sidney Bechet, and Jelly Roll Martin with every note. The intimacy of the room, the raw emotion of the music, and the sense of being a part of something timeless makes a visit to Preservation Hall not just a show, but a rite of passage in the Crescent City. Number 20, order a po' boy at Johnny's Po' Boys. Alright, listen up. There are po' boys, and then there's Johnny Po' Boy, a French Quarter landmark where lunch is legacy. Since 1950, Johnny has served up overstuffed, deep-fried perfection from a humble spot on St. Louis Street, just steps away from the Mississippi. It all began with Johnny and Betty DeGrouson. He ran the place like a neighborhood grocery. Cash only, honor system, make your own change. The food? Big, messy, and unforgettable. Fried, roasted, or drowned in gravy, stacked high on French bread. 3 generations later, Johnny's is still family run, still cash only. There's an ATM on site, and still dishing out sandwiches that stop you in your tracks. They offer over 40 po' boy options: shrimp, roast beef, fried oyster, you name it. Plus seafood platters, salads, and desserts. No frills, no fuss, no reservations. Just a paper plate and a sandwich that tastes like New Orleans history. Number 21. Browse for art on Royal Street. Take a leisurely stroll down Royal Street, where the creative spirit of New Orleans is on full, vibrant display. Just one block over from the raucous energy of Bourbon, Royal offers a more refined, yet no less enchanting experience. Here, 18th and 19th century architecture provides a stately backdrop for art galleries, antique shops, and boutiques that feel like miniature museums. You'll find everything from contemporary canvases by local artists to century-old antiques, handcrafted jewelry, and curiosities you didn't know you needed. Outside, the street comes alive with performers, jazz trios on the cornet, living statues frozen in gold, and painters working in plein air. Whether you're a serious collector or just window shopping, Royal Street invites you to slow down, look closer, and let art lead the way. Number 22. Visit the 1850 House. Step into the daily life of antebellum New Orleans with a visit to the 1850 House, located in the historic Pontalba building alongside Jackson Square. This carefully restored row house offers a rare glimpse into upper middle class living during the mid-19th century, a time when New Orleans was the nation's wealthiest city. Wander through richly furnished parlors, bedrooms, and dining rooms filled with authentic period pieces, porcelain from Paris, mahogany furniture, and intricate ironwork. The museum captures the elegance, routines, and social customs of a bygone era, while also highlighting the complexities of life in a city deeply shaped by both culture and conflict. It's a fascinating, immersive experience for lovers of architecture, history, and the personal stories that brings the city's past to life. Number 23. Buy a book at Faulkner House Books. Tucked away in a quiet alley just off Jackson Square lies Faulkner House Books, a literary gem nestled in the former home of Nobel Prize-winning author William Faulkner. This tiny yet iconic bookstore is a sanctuary for book lovers, with floor-to-ceiling shelves lined with carefully curated classics, rare editions, Southern literature, and poetry. The atmosphere is hushed and reverent, perfect for losing yourself in the scent of old pages and timeless prose. Whether you're picking up a beloved novel or just soaking in the literary history, visiting this intimate space feels like stepping into another era, one where words still hold quiet power. Don't forget to ask about the connection to Faulkner himself,
who once penned his first novel here in 1925. Number 24. Visit the New Orleans Jazz Museum at the Old U.S. Mint. Step into the birthplace of America's original art form at the New Orleans Jazz Museum, housed in the historic Old U.S. Mint on the edge of the French Quarter. This stately 19th century building once pressed coins for the Confederacy and the Union. Today, it's minting something even richer, the story of jazz. Inside, you'll find an impressive collection of instruments, recordings, photographs, and personal artifacts from legends like Louis Armstrong, Jelly Roll Martin, and Professor Longhair. Interactive exhibits let you dive deep into the rhythms and roots of the genre, from Congo Square to Preservation Hall. The museum also hosts live performances, talks, and festivals, turning history into a living, breathing celebration of sound. So, whether you're a lifelong jazz aficionado or just curious about the soul of New Orleans, this museum is a must-see tribute to the music that made the city swing. Number 25. Take a carriage ride. Climb aboard a mule-drawn carriage and roll back the clock as you explore the French Quarter at a gentler pace. These iconic rides, led by seasoned guides with a knack for storytelling, offer a unique way to experience the rich tapestry of New Orleans history. As the carriage clatters down cobblestone streets and past gas lamps and Creole townhouses, you'll hear tales of pirates and voodoo queens, jazz legends, and literary greats. The slow rhythm of the ride lets you soak in the architectural details, lacework balconies, pastel facades, hidden courtyards that you just might miss on foot. It's charming, informative, and surprisingly intimate, whether you take the tour by day to admire the vibrant street life or by night where the quarter glows with mystery and music. Here's a little lanyard for you. Buy some vinyl at the Louisiana Music Factory, just a block past the edge of the French Quarter. Beyond the daiquiri shops and the Bourbon Street chaos lies Frenchman Street, the soulful heart of New Orleans nightlife. Tucked among the bars and brass bands is the Louisiana Music Factory, a record store that feels more like a shrine. It smells like old wood and vinyl, and the music isn't background noise, it's everything. Inside you'll find bins of wax stacked with stories, walls that echo with Cajun, Zydeco, Second Line, and the ghost of Professor Longhair. They got vinyl, of course, along with rare CDs, local books, and live in-store shows that feel like beautiful accidents. If you want to understand New Orleans music, come here. Don't just browse, listen, get lost. You'll come out changed. Thank you for watching. If you're hungry for more of the strange and beautiful chaos that is the Gulf Coast, we got a podcast now over on Patreon. And if you haven't hit that subscription button yet, now's the time. Don't overthink it, just do it. Until next time, folks, this is Gulf Coastal Connections. Stay curious, stay hungry, and stay salty.